How traveling to Japan will affect you this 2025. I didn't go to Japan looking for a life change. I went for the ramen, the temples, the neon nights of Tokyo. But what I found was something deeper. In 2025, Japan isn't just a place on a map, it's a mirror. And if you let it, it'll show you who you really are. This is how traveling to Japan will affect you, in ways you never saw coming. 1. The hook. It's not just a trip. I went to Japan for the obvious reasons: the steaming bowls of ramen at midnight, the golden glow of Kinkakuji at sunrise, the cherry blossoms drifting like pink snow over quiet streets. But what I didn't expect was how deeply it would shift me. In 2025, Japan is at a turning point. New rules in Kyoto are pushing tourists to look beyond the postcard spots. Small villages are opening their doors, not for crowds, but for connection. And the Japanese people, they're quietly protecting their culture, their peace, their way of life. So if you visit this year, it won't just be a trip. It'll be a mirror, a teacher, maybe even a reset button for your soul. Because Japan doesn't just show you its beauty, it shows you yourself. 2. You'll redefine cleanliness. Walk through Shibuya at rush hour, thousands of people, neon flashing, music blaring, and yet, not a single gum wrapper on the ground. In 2025, Japan is taking bold steps to protect its cities. Kyoto's limiting tourist numbers. Nair is asking visitors to respect sacred spaces, but here's what shocks first-timers: there are almost no public trash bins. And yet, the streets are cleaner than most hospital floors. Why? Because in Japan, cleanliness isn't enforced by laws. It's rooted in respect for your neighbors, for shared spaces, for the quiet dignity of order. And after just a few days, something shifts in you. You stop dropping receipts. You carry your empty can until you find a bin. And back home, you'll see litter on your street, and your hand will move before your mind catches up. That's the thing about Japan. It doesn't just clean the streets. It cleans your habits, your awareness, your soul. 3. Time will feel different. In Japan, if a train is delayed by 20 seconds, they issue a formal apology. Not because they're obsessed with clocks, but because they believe your time is sacred. In 2025, that respect for time is evolving. At the Osaka World Expo, AI concierge greet you in 10 languages. Robots guide you through futuristic pavilions. But step onto a local subway in Kyoto, silence. Stillness. No loud calls. No rushing. Just the soft hum of movement and presence. And slowly, you start to change. You stop checking your phone every minute. You arrive 5 minutes early, not because you have to, but because it feels right. You begin to understand. Punctuality isn't about control, it's about care. In Japan, time isn't something you waste or race against. It's something you offer, gently, quietly, to others. And once you feel that, you'll never rush the same way again. 4. You'll fall out of love with clutter. In Japan, beauty doesn't shout. It whispers from an empty room, from a single flower in a vase, from the way a 100 yuan store arranges 10 perfect items, not 10,000. In 2025, this love of simplicity is meeting a new mission: sustainability. Reusable Suica cards replace plastic. Zero-waste cafes in Kanazawa serve matcha in handmade cups. No lids, no straws, no guilt. Even hostels hand you a bamboo toothbrush, like a quiet invitation to live lighter. And something shifts inside you. You pack one small bag and realize you never needed more. You watch a craftsman spend hours carving a single spoon, and wonder why you ever bought 10 cheap ones. Then you get home. You open your closet, bursting with fast fashion, impulse buys, just-in-case stuff. And for the first time, it doesn't feel like abundance, it feels like noise. You'll close the door and whisper, "This isn't peace." And just like that, Japan teaches you to let go. 5. You'll embrace solitude. Japan is one of the safest places on earth, yet, walking through Shinjuku at night, surrounded by millions, you can feel completely alone. No one chats on the train, no one asks, "Where you from?" At the konbini, at first, it feels cold, distant, but then, you lean into the quiet. You sit alone in a tiny ramen bar. Steam rising, chopsticks in hand. You wander a forest path in Yakushima, no one else in sight, just moss and mist. And in that stillness, something rare happens. You stop performing. You stop scrolling. You just are. In 2025, more solo travelers are choosing this on purpose, sleeping in capsule hotels in Tokyo, or staying with families in rural Satoyama villages, where time moves with the seasons, not the screen. And you finally understand. Being alone isn't loneliness, it's clarity, it's peace, it's the space where you finally hear your own voice again. And that might be Japan's greatest gift. 6. You'll witness omotenashi and never forget it. There's a word in Japan they don't even translate well, omotenashi. It's not service, it's not customer care, it's seeing someone's need before they speak it. It is the ryokan host who notices you cold and quietly brings a hot towel. It is the station attendant who walks you 3 blocks just to make sure you catch your train. It's the elderly woman who spends 10 minutes helping you read a map, even though she doesn't speak English. In 2025, as Japan welcomes more visitors than ever, this spirit is under pressure. But that's what makes it even more sacred. Because omotenashi isn't done for tips. It's not done for praise. It's offered freely, like a quiet act of love. And when you receive it, you don't just feel helped, you feel seen. You'll come home changed, holding doors longer, listening with your eyes, not just your ears. Giving, not because you'll get something back, but because someone once gave you grace in a language you didn't even understand. 7. You'll question what progress really means. In Tokyo, robots serve coffee. Neon signs pulse like living circuits. Bullet trains blur the landscape at 320 kilometers an hour. But just a few hours away, in a misty mountain village in 2025, an 80-year-old farmer kneels in the mud, planting rice by hand, the same way his grandfather did. That's the paradox of Japan. It doesn't fear the future, but it never lets go of the past. And standing between those two worlds, you start to wonder, what am I racing toward? Do I really need the newest phone, or just one quiet morning with tea, sunlight, and silence? Japan won't preach at you. It won't tell you to quit your job or delete your apps. But it will show you a life where technology serves peace, not the other way around. And long after you leave, that question lingers. What kind of progress actually fills the soul? 8. You'll develop situational awareness. In Japan, there's a phrase they use, kuki wo yomu, read the air. It's not about rules. It's about awareness. You learn it fast, no phone calls on the train, even a whisper feels too loud. No eating while walking, it's not rude, it's inconsiderate. A small bow when someone helps you, not because you have to, but because you mean it. In 2025, as crowds return and cities welcome the world, these quiet customs matter more than ever, and the locals, they notice, not with words, but with a softer smile, a quicker nod, a little extra care, because in Japan, being a tourist isn't enough. They invite you to be a guest, and that changes everything. You come home different, you lower your voice in shared spaces, you step aside on sidewalks. You ask yourself, am I adding to the noise, or the peace? That's the gift of kuki wo yomu. You don't just see the world more clearly, you move through it with more grace. 9. You'll carry a quiet longing. You'll be back home, months later. Rain starts falling on your street, and suddenly, you're under the wooden eaves of a Kyoto tea house, listening to droplets hit moss-covered stone. A wind chime rings on your neighbor's porch, and for a second, you're standing beneath temple bells in Nara, the sound echoing through ancient cedar trees. That's the thing about Japan. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg you to remember. It whispers, in steam rising from a bowl of udon, in the rustle of a paper lantern, in the space between footsteps on a quiet street. And in 2025, as the world grows louder, with notifications, noise, endless urgency, that whisper becomes your anchor. Your compass. You'll realize you don't just miss Japan. You miss the version of yourself you became there, slower, kinder, more present. And that longing, it's not sadness, it's love, quietly calling you back to who you are. 10. The invitation, go, but go mindfully. So if you're planning to visit Japan in 2025, go for the mountains, the midnight ramen, the silence between temple bells, but go mindfully. Learn to say arigato with your eyes down and your hands together. Respect the new rules in Kyoto. They're not restrictions. They're acts of love. Skip the overcrowded spots. Stay in a family-run guest house in a fishing village. Let your travel be a gift, not a burden, because here's the truth. Japan isn't just changing you, you're part of whether it stays magical for everyone else. I've put together a free 2025 Japan travel checklist with updated visa info, eco-friendly stays, cultural tips, and hidden gems most tourists never see. Links in the description. And if this video touched you, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. How did Japan change you? I read every single one, because your story, it's part of Japan's story too. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe my YouTube channel.